Good morning. If you want to see how we built this oak trash can, got the flip top on it. It's all solid oak, no plywood. Got a self-closing door with hidden hinges, screens here, plywood down here, flared angle legs, and a handle on the back. If you want to see how we built it, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do today. Well, welcome to another Memphis Monday, Memphis Monday 302. Today we're going to be building this oak trash bin here. You've already seen it in the intro. It's already finished. Here it is. We built another one in Memphis Monday 289 for a friend, and the sister of that friend, she said, well, she'd like to have one too, but we don't want to build the same way, so we're going to build a totally different one. I'll go over the design process right about now. Let's knock off the chit chat and get to work. My friend didn't know exactly what she wanted, so I showed her several pictures I saw on the internet, and this was one of them. I find this design right here very nice. We're going to make some improvements on it. We're going to try to make the hinges hidden. We're going to put a little handle back here in the back, and we're going to flare the legs, and we're going to make the whole thing out of oak. This is my original design, but it's got exposed hinges, and the legs aren't flared, but I do have the handle up there. This was the improved version. The hinges are hidden, flared legs, and we still have the handle. I've already got the two sides and the back and the lid. I got the stock cut out for those. Let's go take a look at it. Here's the stock for the sides down here, and this is stock for the back. Let me set it up and see if we can kind of stick it together and see what it's going to look like. Okay, I've mocked up the sides and the back. Now what we have to do is we have to angle these sides down about 2 inches, and we have to put that handle in here and make it come out right here at the top. Here, let me show you on the picture. So these sides will angle down. I think I'm going to put a little curve on them like that. And then the top, the back here will have this little handle come up, but the sides will merge into the height of the sides. So no rocket surgery here. I'm just going to mark where I want that handle to come to. Okay, let's ad-lib some kind of a handle on that back. On these handles, the normal way to do it is you take a Forstner bit and you put a hole here, and then you put a hole here, and then you just trim between the holes with a jigsaw. We're going to try to do it a different way. We're going to try to do a hand-drawn ellipse, and some danger in this, because when we look at things, we have expectations, and when you see these handles, our eyes, become used to seeing a radius here and a radius here, with the flaps cut out. or eye didn't expect this ellipse. But we're going to try it anyway. Give it a whirl. Cut out the ellipse first. I'm just putting miter joints here in the corner and gluing them up with Tight Bond 3. The case will get most of the strength from the bottom, and some cross braces we're going to put in that will hold the lid and define the size, the opening of the door. Remember, I got to keep this gun perpendicular to the joint here. The bottom I'm talking about is this 3/4 inch exterior plywood. I go right in the bottom here, and it'll be trimmed in front with this, and then I'm going to put take a Forstner bit and put some holes in this, and then the whole thing will be sit up on slanted splayed angled legs. Let me go ahead and get those holes in there, and we'll fasten this thing in. Perfectly square this thing up, and also, and most importantly, it'll make this thing just bulletproof, because when this thing's up in there and all three sides are bolted to it, it's just going to hold the thing just amazing. What I'm going to do is put glue around here, and then I'll clamp it all up before I put the nails. Make sure it's exactly where I wanted it. Now I'm making this, the main structure of this thing out of solid oak. And I can tell you right now, that is not a good choice, because first of all, it's red oak, which means it's badly affected by water. So if it gets wet, that would be bad. Second of all, solid wood wants to warp on you over time. My clamping idea is not working because my plywood is it's got some warp to it, and I want this bottom to be perfectly flush. You saw me doing up the lid. What I'm doing, it's going to be attached to this back brace back here, and it's going to lay, the front of it is going to rest on this front cleat here. The cleat's at a small angle, and I want to get it lined up so that that looks about right there. I'm putting these this front brace across here using pocket screws. They're good big ones too. I'm not going to show a lot of the building process for these splayed angle legs. We've covered it a lot in other projects. I will show you how I actually cut the legs out with the thing in place. Up here on our drawing, you can see what we have to do next. We have the oak panels in here splayed out at 6 degrees, and now we have to put this notch in here which will define the little feet. This is what our legs look like now, just a flat panel, but we want to cut out a notch right here. And we've got to make sure the notch doesn't go down and run into our pocket screws. Now these the cutouts for these legs are somewhat random, but you just want to make sure they're all the same. First thing I do is mark off. Got a little block of wood here that's 3 inches, so I'll mark off 3 inches here. That'll be how wide the foot is. And I have this little block of wood here that's going to mark the upper limit. I can mark that. And we'll pull it over the side here. I have get this radius off the cup here. So it's a little bit random, but on the other hand, it's not random because all 4 sides will look exactly the same. And then I'll simply just cut this slot out of there. I'm using my corded jigsaw. And then I'll clean up my cut and round over these edges using just my random orbit sander. Well, it's turned out quite acceptable. We got the legs on there, and I went ahead and put some stain on it. What we have to do now is build the door that goes in here. The door we're going to put in here is going to be an inset. It's going to be inside, doesn't have a frame. And this is going to have some cross hatching here. And we're going to try to put some vents or screens in the top two quadrants here. And then this will be just plywood. This is my setup I'm putting together to put the doors together. They'll fit together like this. But what we have to do is we have to put a rabbet around the inside here, and we need to round over all the edges. I have my dado set up, and I got the excuse me, the sacrificial fence. And somebody's asked the question, why do you use a sacrificial fence? The answer is because a rabbit is right on the edge. It's not a dado. A dado is just a slot that runs through and has wood on either side. But a rabbit, or a rebate, is right on the edge. So your dado set has to clear the edge. Well, you can't do that against a hard fence. So let me show you how I set it up. So what I'm going to do is start the saw up and raise the blade until the blade is raised high enough that I get the right depth for my dado. And it's going to cut right into that sacrificial fence. And so this is some of the wood that I have to make room for. And this wood, they call it a quarter, but it's actually 3/16. I want the blades here to come just above the surface of this plywood here. So I know I want that rabbet to be on this inside here. So I want to mark those so there's no question. Now we're running into a situation here where these rabbets go the entire length of the board, but these rabbets on the outside, they only go to here. So I need to mark my board so that I don't overcut those, because I don't want that notch to go all the way through, because it'll leave a hole right in there. I put a couple of marks on my table. This is where the blade starts cutting, and this is where it stops cutting. And these correspond to the marks on my board. So the plan is, I'll slide this in. I'll slide this into the blade and then run it through until I get to this mark down here. Now I'll run it in. How I'll run it in is put this end right up against the fence, and that'll give me leverage to push the board in. Let's give that scheme a try. Then, after I get the things connected together, I will simply take a chisel and chisel out this one little corner, and we'll have a professional looking job. Well, I got the door put together. I didn't show putting this cross hatching in here. I did it so fast and so easy, didn't even have time to film it. This cross hatching isn't connected to the outer frame. Rather, what I did is I put this screen in, connected the screen around the edges and down the middle. That holds the cross hatch in here. Then I put this piece of plywood down here, connected around the edge and down the center. That holds the whole thing in. What I'm gonna do now is stain the last two pieces here. What I'll do, go ahead and stain this, and then I'm gonna let it sit overnight. I find that if you let stain sit overnight, it's a lot easier to work with, especially putting polyurethane and everything else. You want it to be nice and dry. Okay, I'll knock out this staining, and then we'll come back tomorrow morning and install these doors. Once we install the doors, we'll be done. That'll be the, well, except for putting poly on it, but I won't keep you around for that. That'll do it for Memphis Monday 302. Got this oak trash can. It's got the door with the hidden hinges here. It's got it. Put a plastic trash can in it. It's got the top hatch. On the hatch, we went with some bigger hinges. Let me, I'll show you that in a second. And we put a handle on the back, and we got the flared legs. Overall, pretty satisfied. We never get any controversy on my channel, but maybe this would be controversy. Instead of going with the hidden hinges like we did on the door, I went the other way, and I got these big stainless steel door hinges for this hatch. I figure this hatch is going to be open several times per day, and that really gives it a utilitarian look, and it's going to be bulletproof. Well, that does it for Memphis Monday 302. Today we built this nice little oak trash bin with flared legs, hidden hinges on the front, and we put two big giant stainless steel hinges on the top for that trap door, because we want that thing to be bulletproof. Remember, that thing's going to be opened who knows how many times every day, and so that thing's going to take a lot of wear and tear, and so it has to be indestructible. We made it out of solid oak. I think if I ever build another one, I think I'm going to use oak plywood. Solid oak is, I don't trust it. It wants to twist and get ugly on you. But anyway, I think it turned out all right, and learned a lot and had a lot of fun. So, like, favorite, share, comment. Make sure you comment. But most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.